They hand it to the Gosnell Express again, and he is into the end zone, running right behind Luke Ross, the tight end, and that offensive line.
Blackman in for the touchdown.
All right, welcome to the Nathan Brown Show here at Pizza Ranch in Conway. The PA guy was trying to get on the action there, Coach. Bears win again at Stephen F. Austin on a very windy Saturday, 27-17, dodged weather all day, and fortunately we didn't see any lightning, Coach, crack over the stadium until we were doing the post-game interview. But your team, you knew you were going to get a fight, and you got one, and you guys really made some beautiful adjustments. We'll go over some of the numbers, but second half, you definitely had a lot more success in the first half. It was a tough slog through the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, they came out ready to play. I mean, we know week in and week out we're going to get everybody's best shot, and obviously Stephen F. Austin came out ready to play, and I thought the defense got us going quick with that big quick turnover and Reggie O'Dean getting it down inside the 5, and then obviously Carlos punching it in for a quick score there in the first couple of minutes to kind of get the ball rolling. I mean, a lot of things factored into that game. I talked to the guys. I mean, you change a football player's habits, where they, what they're used to doing. A 2 o'clock kickoff's an early kickoff. We were eating pregame meal, we were eating breakfast. So that's a little bit different. And, we knew on the road that was going to be difficult, but I thought our guys responded. And obviously you come away with a road win, it's always huge.
3-1 now in conference play, 4-2 overall. And, we talked about it on the postgame show, but for those who missed it, 107 yards in the first half, 272, and they were, stacking the box is an understatement. Yeah. They had like 14 guys in there, and it was tough. On a windy day, it's hard to throw the deep ball they had so much success with the week before in the wind like that. But what did you guys do at the halftime that worked so well in the second half?
Well, here's the thing. You hit the nail on the head. What they were doing was they said we're going to put 9 guys in the box, essentially, and make your freshman quarterback beat us. We're going to make you throw and catch the football. We're going to press you up, play man coverage, and that's what they did. And I'll tell you what, they gave Luke a lot of different looks that he hasn't seen. They had a bunch of extra hats. Our offensive line was doing a good job blocking the core, but, when you've got 2 or 3 unblocked guys, those are the guys making the play. So, one thing that we did, and a lot of times when you get in a tight ball game like that, as an offensive coach, you say, well, let's spread it out and throw it and get big plays down the field. But we kind of sat down at halftime, reevaluated what our game plan was, what we had success with in the first half, and essentially turned into us bringing in 3 tight ends and 1 tailback, just 1 receiver. And that's where we made our hay in the second half running the football. And I thought we challenged our offensive line and our tailbacks in the second half. They responded. I thought Carlos and Kier both had huge runs, just running with extreme passion, hard to tackle. And we were able to get some big plays, a couple of big plays in the pass game as well. So, it was a combination of some guys making some plays, but also, adjusting the scheme a little bit.
We've got a couple of guests here today. We're going to talk to Trai Mosley, and unfortunately, one of the highlights we did not get was his interception at the end of the game that sealed it. We do have the Reggie O'Dean fumble recovery, so Trai, we'll replay that in the pregame show, so just make sure that your family and friends are listening in for that. So we'll get to that. Also going to talk to Toby Sanderson, who is helping to anchor that offensive line that has gotten better week by week, Coach, and really we'll say they got better quarter by quarter the other day because started making some hay, as you mentioned, as the game wore on. But, man, it was really all about the defense. You take away the 85-yard touchdown that came on a tunnel screen. It was only really their only significant play offensively. Take that play away, only 253 yards of total offense, 3 turnovers forced. And how about negative 20 yards rushing? And, man, I see the smile on your face. That's got to make any coach happy. You can win a lot of games holding teams under 0 yards in the run game.
Well, that makes them one-dimensional, and our defense did a great job, obviously up front. That wasn't the strength of their offense, but we didn't want to give them any life in that area. And then when you make a team one-dimensional and you allow our defensive line to pin their ears back and be pass rushers, that just makes everybody better. Our defense was able to get pressure on the quarterback, and then that essentially gave our corners and our safeties chances to intercept the football and turn them over. So, to make the anytime you hold a team under 0, you don't expect that, but that's something that just was an amazing credit to Coach Thurman and our defensive staff putting together a good plan. And then, our players going out and playing hard and executing and just really winning the plays and winning the battles within the trenches, and that's what they did.
Yeah, when you ask what their rushing total was and you said there wasn't one, that's always fun. So,
yes.
Sack totals, too. We knew going in this was an offensive line that had been pieced together. They really shuffled things around the week before, and then they reshuffled things again. And so as we're looking through the pregame notes and getting ready, we're thinking, oh, boy, this could be really fun. And your defensive line definitely did have some fun with it. Grant and Terrell, 2.5 sacks each, 6 sacks total as a team. and creating those negative plays. And that was such a great formula for you guys last year, and it really worked well here in this game.
Well, actually, here's the crazy thing. We got our man here had an interception. He also had a sack. We brought the corner blitz, and Trai Mosley brought the quarterback down one time. I think he was at the bottom of the pile. I think all the defense line converged on him as well.
You just got to lay there long enough to get credit for it.
Yeah,
That's
no doubt. But Timo went in there and did his job, and it was awesome. But really just a testament to those guys, and just we knew one of us, and I've been saying it, our strength of our defense and really our team is our defensive front, and they make everybody around them better, and I thought they got an opportunity to show that off a little bit on Saturday, and that was fun because you wanted to see those guys get some confidence and just get their swagger back, and I think they were able to do that on Saturday.
Well, back home in the Stripes this week, and if you consider that a challenge, this is a challenge plus as far as passing game goes. It's the #1 passing offense in the league, and we talked about how SFA was clearly a team that focused more on the pass than they could on the run. They had some nice receivers. Again, when Tamarick Pace is your third leading receiver going in, you got a good bunch of guys. But again, able to keep them under wraps for the most part. This week, how similar is Northwestern State to what you saw last week as far as passing game?
Well, they're going to be an extreme challenge, for our defensive backfield. We need another great pass rush by our defensive front to contain these guys. I think their quarterback's a great football player. He came with Coach Smiley, who's their offensive coordinator. He's been the head coach at Trinity Valley Community College in Texas, and took the offensive coordinator job under Brad Laird. And so, he brought his junior college quarterback with him. So he understands the system, understands what he's trying to accomplish. They've been together. And then their top two receivers, one of them is Jazz Ferguson. I can't think of the other kid's name. One of them's a transfer from LSU.
Yeah, Small is his name, yeah.
Yeah, transfer
6'2".
from Texas Tech. So, they're big-time receivers, and that's what they do. They want to spread you out, move the ball around, get the ball in the playmakers, and they've got some big receivers. I think Jazz Ferguson's a 6'5" kid, and then the other one's a 6'2" kid. So we've got to be ready, to bring our A game in our pass coverage, and obviously – what's the best thing for pass coverage? Great pass rush. So we've got to challenge that defensive front again this week.
Seems like we've not been home much this year. And
I mentioned that earlier today visiting with people. 4 of our first 6 were on the road, and then so we've kind of hit past that hurdle. That speed bump of our season. Now we're on the back end of the season with 5 games left, but 3 of our next 5 are at home. So I thought we've handled up the first part of the season. Really and truly could be 6-0. If some things bounce our way, but we're at 4-2, 3-1 in a great spot. We control our own destiny, and for the most part, we'll be at home for the second half of the season.
Play action. Blumrick hit, and the ball is out. It's picked up by Reggie O'Dean. 40, 35, 30, 25, 20. He is wrestled out of bounds. A little horse collar tackle, no flag. But Reggie O'Dean of the Bear defensive line does it again.
All right, welcome back. And nice fumble recovery, second week in a row. And Reggio didn't get a chance to score that one, Coach, but another pickup and a nice run there. And he did get horse collared, by the way. I saw it on the replay. They missed that one.
Reggio's been in the right place at the right time the last 2 weeks.
Yes. I'd say
we need to make that 3 weeks in a row.
That's good strategy, I suppose. So, yeah, we had a lot of interesting things happen over the weekend. And Trai Mosley, cornerback, joining us here tonight at Pizza Ranch. And you were telling Coach in the break, we didn't realize this. Didn't figure you had a lot of sacks on your resume. First one of your life.
Yes, first one of my life.
That's pretty cool. So what was called and what worked?
It was our nitro blitz. Basically, our end gets up the field and opens up that backside B gap for me. The tackle never pulled over on me. He came out and just stayed with Dalvin, and I just had a sack right there.
Yeah, what'd you see? I mean, was it just –
It was just a wide open hole.
Yeah. So were you thinking, don't miss this one?
Don't miss it. And then I think, actually, he was fumbling with the ball on the ground. So I was like, okay. I can strip it. Or I can just get this tackle, and I was like, I'll just get the tackle.
Yeah. And you said you didn't get a chance to celebrate. Why?
Cardell Best was just sitting on my back the whole time.
But that was all right?
Yeah.
You were feeling pretty good? Then you got an interception at the end of the game. What happened there?
Basically, we were in Panther. I was manned up. We had 2 safeties over the top. I just remember 2 things. I remember Michael Ware. He said, watch the slant. And then I remember my coach, Coach Howard, saying, play your technique. Your technique is going to take you to the ball. So I was like, okay. I was like, I took a deep breath, played my technique. As soon as I turned my head, the ball was right there, and then ended up in my hands. So.
Yeah. Well, good catch, good play.
Thanks.
There was really only one play that they did that was notable was the long pass reception on I guess it was a tunnel screen to the receiver, and that dude can go. He was very fast. But what happened there? What was the miss there? I don't know if that was on your side.
It was on the backside.
Yeah.
Basically, they just schemed us up. They knew we were in nail. They basically had our safety go with that tight end because they knew the safety was going to follow the tight end. The corner ended up getting hit by the tight end, and it left a wide open hole right there. So that's basically what happened.
Yeah, well, everything else went right for the most part. When you're watching the D-line do work and you're on that back end, how much confidence does that give you watching those guys get after the quarterback like they did?
Man, it gives me a ton of confidence, man, because I always know those guys are going to get to the ball. It makes my job a lot easier in the back end because it's either they're going to have to get the ball out quick or somebody in the back end is going to end up making a play most of the time. So that's how they're doing. So
when you hear negative 20 yards rushing, what pops in your head? What do you think about that?
Did they run the ball at all? Honestly, I didn't. We were on the bus, man, and they told us that they had negative 20 yards rushing. I was like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So we need it every week.
Yeah, that would be nice. So this week, I mean, it's a fairly pass-happy league anyway, and you guys have already passed some quarterbacks or played some quarterbacks that are very solid and very good. This guy is at least not necessarily a dual threat on paper, but they're going to throw it all over the yard. You got to be excited. If you're a corner, you're thinking, I'm going to get some opportunities this week, right?
Oh, definitely. I definitely feel like I'm going to get some opportunities this week.
So what about the league in general? As far as some of the games you guys have gone through, what have you learned through the process this year and in past seasons?
Last year, was kind of my year getting back from my neck injury, just kind of get my feet wet a little bit. This year I had to take a bigger role. I feel like I've been working hard. I just feel like I have to make those opportunities when they come now because I'm the older guy and I have to watch over everybody else, so I just have to step up.
The FBS transfer thing has not been it's not been as ubiquitous here as it has been some other places, but you're one of those guys and you're having a great year so far. Jakari, a Texas Tech transfer, he's had a spectacular season so far as well. You're a guy that actually got significant playing time in Nebraska before you came here. What's it been like? I mean, obviously it's a whole different world, isn't it, at this level than in Nebraska, but what's that transition been like? And obviously you kind of knew what you were getting into, and it's gone really well. You've been part of a lot of wins.
Mm-hmm. Actually, when I first decided I was going to transfer and leave and everything, I had a friend, Devin Spurlock, who was here a few years ago, who kind of told me about the university and everything. I had a long talk with God about it. I came here and I didn't even take a visit to the school. I was just like, I feel like my ability and everything will, set me apart. I feel like I have an opportunity if I want it, and, I ended up getting an opportunity to play. We all watched, I hope a lot of folks stayed up last night. I fell asleep because I'm old and tired, but I did see a little bit of the action early on, but Trey Smith with a 97-yard kick return, and there's a couple other guys, obviously George Odom and Jonathan Woodard, that are playing in the NFL right now. Again, I mean, everybody wants to play at that level, and when you see guys that have come through here that are playing in the NFL, it's got to be inspiring, I would think. Yeah, it is. And it also shows me that it doesn't matter where you come from, as long as you make that opportunity, everybody can get the opportunity to play at the next level.
What are things you want to work on? Obviously, you got a year left, too, but what are things you want to finish up with this year, things you're continuing to try to improve upon, and things that maybe if you want to get to that level, things you'll have to do?
I feel like I need to learn the defense better, maybe more of the schemes instead of just knowing that I'm playing man. I need to know where everybody's gap is and learn just more of the offensive side, too, of stuff, watch more film and everything. So I think that'll be good for me.
We're talking to Trai Mosley, if you're just tuning in, defensive back out of Pflugerville, Texas, another one of the Texas guys. And we were talking last week to Kiki, and he was excited to go back to the home state. Are you excited to go back and play in Texas?
I'm definitely excited to go back to play in Texas.
Okay. So what about I was going to ask you, I guess, about just the other defensive backs and how you guys sort of work together. Obviously there's some subbing in and out, but, I mean, you guys have got such a good unit back there. You've been really solid the last couple of seasons. Tell me about that room. What's it like?
Oh, man, it's fun, man. I feel like everybody has their own personalities. We all grow and feed off of each other in there. Coach Howard makes everything better because he's just like one of us, from where we have people who are, less fortunate and we have people who are very fortunate, and Coach Howard has seen both sides of those. So I feel like he can relate to everybody. Okay, real quick. I ask about every defensive player that comes in, the difference between Coach Thurman and Coach Stewart, and everybody says they're basically the same guy. My question is, well, Coach Stewart has sent you on a corner blitz. Would you have gotten in there on that one? Definitely would have gotten in there on that one. Did he call that last year? Did you guys do some of that? I don't think we did at all.
Coach Stewart's not calling a corner blitz.
He wouldn't have.
Did you give Coach Thurman some love when you came off?
Definitely did.
Okay. Well, congrats on a great game, and good luck this week. I imagine we'll be calling your number a lot, hopefully in a lot of PBUs and some interceptions maybe.
Yes, sir.
Maybe a sack or two. Who knows? You like that. Let's do it again.
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks, Trai. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Set behind Luke Hales, ball in the middle of the field. Nix, the tight end, shifts to the right side of the formation. They will hand it to Blackman off the left side, right behind an offensive lineman, sidesteps a defender, still on his feet. 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown! Carlos Blackman.
All right, welcome back. Nathan Brown Show here at Pizza Ranch in Conway. And I need to start calling the offensive lineman by name. That was excellent work. They had a great game the other day, and as the game wore on, we talked more and more about what a job they're doing. And really, as a year has worn on, this is a unit that has gelled together. What have you seen from your guys up front?
Well, they've grown. I mean, you talking about 5 positions playing as one. I mean, when you talk about center, right guard, right tackle, left tackle, I mean, you expect – it's kind of like they've got one job to do, and it's 5 heads trying to do it, and that's difficult. And when you've got basically 4 new starters coming in, and our returning starter is only a sophomore. I mean, so there was just a learning curve, and I think Coach Boykin's done a phenomenal job with those guys, getting them prepared week in and week out, and we have seen great improvement each and every week. Those guys, I always said it. It wasn't for lack of talent. We've got talent, and there's a ton of talent up front. It's just experience, and now we're getting into the meat of this schedule, and those guys are getting better every week.
Yeah, the thing I love is not a senior across there, which is really exciting for the future too. Not only this year, but the years to come, which is awesome. I have to say, I know you guys watch tape. I don't know if you get a chance to look at it on the bus, or you wait until you guys get back to break it down. But that run by Carlos, to me, kind of defined him as a runner. He showed sort of the deftness working his way through. He shed a tackler, and then he showed the speed burst at the end. I mean, I thought he did a little bit of everything there. I thought it was just a beautiful run.
Man, I said it after the game. I mean, and it even proved it watching film. I mean, it looked like he ran through the whole team. I mean, he got on the edge, and Carlos, when he gets to the second and third level, is as hard a running back to tackle in this league, really, maybe even the nation. He's just difficult to get down. And then I thought that run really sparked our second half. I mean, it was a good blocked up scheme by the offensive line and tight ends, and then he was able to squirt out and obviously had enough speed to get to the end zone from 30 yards out. So that was a huge run at that point in the game.
Well, I think everybody understands he's strong as an ox, but he's clearly added a step or two from a speed standpoint this year, which is great. And whether we're talking about Carlos running or you're looking at the NFL game last night and watching Trey Smith on a kick return that goes 97 yards, it's all about the blocking. I mean, you could see the block setting up in that. You saw the block setting up there. And let's bring in a guy who does it for a living now, or at least for a scholarship, Toby Sanderson from Edmond, Oklahoma. Hope you're not getting paid. Sophomore center here at Central Arkansas. Congrats on the win. And again, you guys really are starting to do some great work up front. What have you seen from your guys up front?
We're just continuing to improve, really. It's really recognizing the fronts as they're thrown at us. It seems like the past few weeks, we worked 3-3 both these past 2 weeks, and they've thrown a couple different things at us. So like this week we had a 3-3, a bear front, a 4-man front. We had bear off with the outside linebackers. So they were throwing everything at us, and it took us a couple quarters to get it rolling. But once we did, we get that ball rolling, and that's just been the biggest thing is getting it started.
Doesn't anybody just line up in a base defense anymore? It's really not fair.
Yeah.
It's a lot to contend with.
It's not going to happen from here on out either. Playing a young quarterback, and people know that they're going to see a lot of different blitzes and stunts and twists, and that's just what we've got to be ready for.
I'm always curious, Toby, how much of that is on the quarterback, and Coach, you've been in that position, and how much is on the line to make the calls to protect?
We've kind of shared that role a little bit. Usually I'll make the initial call. He'll check me if he needs to, and it's really what he's comfortable with most of the time. But, I'll try to help him out the best I can, especially with Luke coming in. There's been a couple instances where he was a little unsure. I tried to help him out, so, yeah.
We know there was a transition in the head coaching position from year to year. You guys also lost a position coach. Coach Boykin was great that he was on staff last year, so obviously you guys had familiarity there. But again, that was something else to deal with for the guys up front. How different is it? We talked a lot about it on defense. How much of a different was it for you guys as far as the way things are done?
It's a little different not having the head coach as your position coach anymore. But Coach Boykin was there, the whole time we were with Campbell. So we knew him pretty well just coming in. So there wasn't a whole lot to change mentality-wise. And we're just going with the flow with it now. So
well, it's working well.
Yeah.
Running back to running back, any difference in the way you guys do things? I mean, is it ever in the back of your mind, okay, well, Carlos is in or Kiki's in or Cedric's in? You do things a little different? You think they might do something?
Really, we don't know who's in until we see him passing us going to the end zone. So
you don't pay any attention to personnel?
Not really. We get the play from Luke, and we get bodies on bodies and do our job. And
here's the funny part is you've noticed our snap counts on a clap, which a lot of people's is.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know we're even directly snapping it to Carlos and Kiki half the time. He's just he hears the clap, he's snapping. That's the way offense is now.
Yeah, I gotta look between my legs a few times just to see who's back there. Make sure I don't, if Kiki's in there, I don't want to snap it like I'm snapping to Braylon or Luke or so.
Yeah. Well, I would think the call is a little different, right? Do you guys have a special call for the Bear stuff for Wild Bear?
Yeah, but it's they hear the concept. They don't necessarily hear where the formation's going or where who's taking the snap. They hear, okay, well, we're running this run concept or we're running this pass concept. So a lot of times they don't know anything other than there's a motion and we know what we're running.
Is it harder for you to get, like if a guy's under center versus in the pistol, and you guys run the majority of the stuff out of pistol anyway, but is it harder for you to get on a block or easier for you to get on a block if a guy's under center or in pistol?
It's about the same. I didn't do much of under center before getting here, so but once I got a hold of it, it came naturally, I guess. I mean, not a big difference between the two.
You're from Edmond, which is what, 6 hours? You guys are like
4.5.
Okay, is that all it is? Okay. How'd you become familiar with Central Arkansas and Conway?
My buddy, actually, Mitchell Perkinson.
Well, you're getting a lot of good recruiters that played here, Coach. That's good work.
Yeah, him and his dad helped me a lot with my recruiting. So, they gave me shot me an email, with some schools to take a look at, and UCA was on there. I got a hold of Coach Howard. He was recruiting Oklahoma at the time, so just hit his Twitter up, asked what they had going on, and it worked out. So.
Well, Coach, with skill guys, we talk a lot about how they end up at a certain place. How do you guys identify linemen that you like, and how do you gauge it against who they're playing against and where they're coming from, all that?
Well, first thing you look for is just how hard do they play. I mean, when we're looking at an offensive lineman, you look for guys that obviously fit the bill with size. Toby's a 300-pound plus kid. You need that meat up front if you want to make runs in the playoffs. So that's important, one. But two is just watching the way they play within a game. I mean, we don't, and I would say this whether he's here or not, we don't need a bunch of prima donna offensive linemen. You need guys that want to do the hard work, the guys that want to finish blocks, the guys that don't really care about the glory. They don't care about doing radio shows. They don't care about doing post-game interviews. They just want to win, and they want to do whatever it takes to do that. And so that takes good recruiting. It takes getting to know the kid, the family, but also getting in with the high school coach. And this is the best player on the team, and he's our offensive lineman. So a lot goes into recruiting offensive line. I think it's probably, if not the most important position, one of the top positions on the team that you need to have great recruiting on to have a successful team.
Toby, how much film study week to week for you guys? Probably think a lot.
We do quite a bit. We have our pre-practice meetings, and then Coach Boykin always tries to get us in, just whenever we can. We had an off day today. I was in there for 15, 30 minutes, just looking at Northwestern today. So, we get quite a bit.
Yeah. What are you studying?
I was looking at Northwestern's nose tackle today.
Okay.
Heard he was a pretty good player this week. He didn't look too heavy, but just a little quick. So,
would you rather deal with a guy who's a big beefcake or a guy who's a little faster?
Well, it depends. Sometimes when they're bigger, you're just wanting to fire off and get after them. But when they get that quickness to them, you can't just fire off. They'll swim you, or they'll their slant to their gap. So, I liked going against HBU's guy. He was a smaller guy, but once I got a hold of him, it's easier to drive him around. But they're both. I like doing both.
Yeah. Well, keep up the good work. Congratulations on the success so far, and good luck this week.
Thank you.
Coach, we got a question from the crowd earlier. Yeah, give it up for Toby. Good stuff. And Trai, too. Great interviews tonight. About, talking about the rooms or the groups. And you guys, when you break up into individual groups, and again, every year's a little different. It was interesting. We were kind of joking around with Kiki last week about how it seems like those guys are competing for snaps, and yet they're all pulling for each other, and you maybe don't always get that at every position. Can you kind of give us a feel for your different groups of guys and sort of breaking them up position wise?
Yeah, it's exactly like a family. I mean, when you're together, the amount of time we spend together, as a football team, but then you break it up into your groups, which is your defensive back group, your offensive line, your quarterbacks, running backs. You're with those guys even more. So you get to know each other personally. You get to know what their weaknesses are, what their strengths are, what gets on their nerves. What gets them going, what motivates them. So those players. That's why you see the celebrations you see in the end zone and interceptions and sacks, because it's like watching your brother or your sister do something great, and that's what's so cool. Watching our team work is how much they enjoy being around each other and how hard they play, because that's what it's about, man. We spend a lot of those guys have a heavy slate on them with school and making good grades, but man, we spend a lot of time putting time and effort into winning football games, and that's why people can say, well, that you won an ugly game, you won this, against Stephen F. Austin. There's no ugly win in football. It's every win is something you cherish, and our guys definitely understand that, and we're looking forward to doing that each and every week.
There is a mentality of, the next game is the most important game of the year, and we see it every week, Coach. It wasn't just in the Southland with Nichols falling this week over at Abilene. It's all over the country. You saw number 6 go down. There were a lot of teams that were ranked in the top 10, 15 that went down to unranked teams, some at home. There is no chance to sleep against anybody.
Again, that's why football is the greatest game there is. There's so much parity in especially college football. There's so much parity in it, other than if you're the Alabama Crimson Tide, I guess. There's so much anybody can win or lose on any given night, and that's why we talk about our guys. We have got to bring our A game every night, and one great thing about this place, and it's not something I brought or been a part of, or this has been this way for a long time. I'm talking, 50, 60, 70 years here, is just the culture here at University of Central Arkansas breeds winning. And when our players step off the field, whether it's off the stripes or whether it's getting on the bus from the road, we expect to be winners, and that'll take you a long way.
This is an interesting year in the Southland, and again, you don't want to disparage anybody, but the bottom line is there is not a lot of separation. This is not an Alabama against the world kind of situation. I happen to like the Bears more than anybody else in the Southland, but when you look at the numbers, you guys are currently, and I think everybody would agree, one of the best teams in the Southland and one of the better teams nationally. Number 1 in scoring offense in the league, number 3 in scoring defense, and there's only an 8-point gap between what you guys are giving up and what you're scoring. Look at Houston Baptist, for example. They're tied for first in the league in scoring, and they're dead last in what they're giving up, but there's only about a 12-point difference there. It's amazing.
I've said it all along. This league is very even this year. I don't know that there's a truly dominant team. When you look at the last couple of years, you could say us and Sam Houston had dominant years. There's just not that this year. It's a very the lower tier teams historically, whether it be coaching changes or good recruiting or whatever it is, have developed a good programs, and in the top tier programs, for whatever reason, with attrition and just new staffs, new players, whatever it is, it's just a very even league, and it's something that you got to gear up for, and it's a testament to the Southland and the players and coaches we've got in this league. I think this league is getting better and better every year, and that's just a testament to great coaching and great players.
Yeah, 4 teams ranked out of the conference, nationally right now, which is great. Even though Nichols dropped that game, that was a little surprising. Everybody's vying for those playoff spots. It's what it's all about, especially here. Getting to the postseason is a kind of a baseline for you guys.
Yeah, it's important. That's what we talk about day one. We've got a bunch of guys that were a part of those last 2 playoff teams, and they're still hungry and want a piece of that. And we feel like we've got the team to do it. We've got to play good defense, clean football on offense, and I've said it all along. If we can steal a few on the road, which we're continuing to do, and hold serve at home, then we'll put ourselves in that position. And I think we've done that to this point. And now, like I mentioned earlier, luckily, 3 of our last 5 games of the season are at home, and we enjoy playing on the stripes. So that's big time for us.
There's no question. Well, it's interesting too. We were talking last week amongst ourselves in the broadcast booth about how much there is to contend with when you're preparing for your team, which is great. And again, if the offensive line continues to get better and better week by week, it's just going to make all those things work that much better. Myers and Dillard are getting the lion's share of the attention because of the big ball plays, the long passing plays. But I'm telling you, Wells is becoming like death in taxes, Coach.
Yeah,
he's 5-6 catches a week every single week. Out of the 6 games so far, he's had 5+ every week, including last week he had 6. And it's almost like we sort of forget about him. He did get a touchdown last week, He is steady Eddie.
Let me tell you, he's a great football player. He's one of the most fun kids to be around in general. But then you tack on just how good a football player he is. He understands routes, understands leverage, all the things you look for in a receiver, and has great hands. And then the quarterbacks trust him.
Part of a trips receiver left. Hales, late throw down the sideline. Touchdown, Central Arkansas! He had Lester Wells come up with it. Lester Wells with a touchdown grab in the end zone.
All right, welcome back. Pizza Ranch in Conway. And Coach, that was an interesting play. That was the Lester Wells touchdown we were alluding to before the break. And 13 yards from Luke Hales, 10-play, 72-yard drive to put you guys up 24-10, get a little breathing room, added a Cummins field goal, and then got a little bit interesting there. It was nice to see Trai get that interception and clear things off and sort of settle things out and finish it off. But that was a weird play because I think it was Dillard on the outside, and they rode him out of bounds almost onto the track, and I'm watching that. And all of a sudden, here comes the pass, and I thought they were throwing it that way, and here comes Wells and got him in the corner of the end zone for the touchdown. What happened on that play?
Yeah, it was actually probably called a little bit tighter than what we want to call that play. That's more of an open field play, but what we had actually completed that for same play for a big third down conversion earlier in the game, hit Lester on it. So we knew schematically it was going to be a good call. Little tighter than what we wanted to do, but Jakari, basically his role on that play, and sometimes it sucks as a receiver. Sometimes you're the runoff guy, and so Jakari's job was I've got to outside release this corner, and he literally outside released it.
Yeah, he did.
He was about on the track.
He really was.
And so he comes to celebrate with Lester, and he's coming from the popcorn stand. So, but it worked out well. Lester ran a great route. Obviously Cedric brought him in motion. He draws the defense anywhere he goes. So it was a good play call by Ken Collins.
We mentioned the defense, minus 20 yards rushing, which is awesome. How about 3 of 17 on third down? That's impressive.
You're going to win a lot of football games. We were 8 of 19. They were 3 of 17. I mean, that's keep the chains moving on our end, and then obviously stop them on third down. I mean, that's huge. And then if you look at red zone scores, we were 4 for 4 and they were 1 for 2. So I mean, just a big fourth down stop down there late in the game for our guys, and then obviously we were able to convert ours into points.
It seems like we mention Juan Jackson about every week, Coach. Another 12 tackles added to his total. He's got 61 now on the season, 4 forced fumbles, which is tops in the league, among the tops in the country, I would imagine. And then he's got an interception to his credit as well. He continues to make plays for you guys every week.
He's such a good football player. He's kind of a lot of times playing that boundary safety, and for a lot of defenses this way. But you're really the last line of defense. So the way we play defenses, he's basically like a roll down linebacker at times. So he's just a good tackler, a good football player. You can put a lot on his plate because he is a smart football player, and he makes the most of it on Saturdays.
You sort of alluded to this earlier, Coach, and you talked about how the Southland is getting better as a league and nationally, feel like maybe they'll make more of an impact long term. When you look at how you guys want to compete within the league, again, you want to become a national program. You get in the top 5 last year in the rankings. You guys get a national seed. What does it take to compete at that level, maybe above and beyond what it takes to get it done every week in the Southland?
Well, I think continued success, one, we've got to continue to market our brand as, nationally, so that's only going to help recruiting and getting better players here. But at the same time, having success in the postseason, continue to make the postseason, but have some success. Push 2, 3, 4 rounds deep. Make a run at it a year, every year, and that's gonna add the national exposure. That's gonna obviously add respect. Within the FCS level of football. But we continuing to recruit size. When we've been in the playoffs, the teams that have beat us out over the years, and I'm going all the way back to 2011, 2012. They were bigger, more physical players than us, on the offensive and defensive lines in particular. I think we can always match up quarterbacks skill-wise, with anybody in the country. I really feel that way. We've got as much team speed right now as we've ever had. But you've got to continue to recruit big kids, within the trenches of the football field. So, that's something we'll definitely put a point of emphasis on as we continue to move forward. We did in last year's recruiting class, and obviously that's going to be a big emphasis of for us as we move forward.
Is it easier now? I mean, when you go around the country or you talk to kids, certainly regionally, I would think they've got some familiarity with Central Arkansas.
Well, it's huge. We've had success, and we've had success stories from kids coming from the Houston area, from the Dallas area. Now we're tapping into Orlando, Tampa. We've signed a kid from Miami last year. And then, within our region, obviously the state of Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, we've always had great success there. So as you've continued to see our success and our brand and our, I say our number one job, not only as an athlete, as a football program, as an athletic department, is to make, put a positive light on Central Arkansas, as a whole. And I think we're doing a good job of, getting this logo out and putting its best foot forward.
If you need any help recruiting the Tampa area, I want you to know.
You got it.
Everybody in this room is probably happy to go down and help out.
Yeah,
so we're all good, especially on a cold, rainy day like today.
Well, if we can continue to get guys like Brandon Myers and his younger brother, who's going to be a great player, Cameron Myers, who hadn't seen the field yet, he'll probably redshirt this year at running back. But, those two coming from the Tampa area, we're going to continue to hit that area hard.
I want to mention special teams quickly. A couple field goals by Matt Cummins, and every time he chips in 3 more, gives you a little more breathing room. I'll tell you a weapon we don't talk enough about, Coach, and when you look around the league week to week, he's got a huge advantage over what you guys have faced, it seems like, every single week. But 18 touchbacks on 40 kickoffs. There's something that people take for granted, but, man, what a great weapon.
It's huge. Matt's kicking the ball extremely well. He has a lot of confidence right now. He's as strong as he's ever been in his career, and he's going to go down as one of the best kickers to ever kick here.
And, again, man, great week to be back on the stripes. And I haven't really checked the weather much, Coach, but I'm going to tell you this. No matter what the weather's doing, you guys have played in just about everything already, mostly rain.
I think it's supposed to be pretty weather, I think.
Okay.
Things can change in Arkansas really quick, though.
There is no question. I didn't think we were going to have what we had last week, but we dodged it, so that was good. As long as the Bears win, that's all good. So, Coach, a couple minutes here, and then we're going to get into our 2-minute drill. This is a Northwestern State team, as we mentioned. A little pass happy, 1-3 on the season. Scored 28 points against Sam Houston State last week in a loss. They allowed 563, but they had 432 yards of their own, and they are doing it mostly by air with a little bit of ground mixed in.
Yeah, they're explosive on offense. They've got a quarterback they trust. They've got a couple of receivers that can be big play guys. And then Northwestern always historically has one of the better offensive lines in our conference. So, they got some juice down there with Coach Brad Laird. He's I've known him for a good while now. He's a great coach. He's going to get that program going. We're going to have to bring our best effort. It's going to take a great effort. It's going to take a great crowd to get our kids going on Saturday, and then we're going to have to play clean football, offense, defense, and special teams.
They are allowing over 5 yards a carry. They are last in the league in rush defense, 247 yards a game. You notice I mentioned that after the guys left, but certainly going to have their work cut out. They do have the most efficient passer in the league, though, in Shelton Epler, and I can tell in talking to you, 14 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He's got your attention.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. Again, he gets the ball from point A to point B about as good as anybody in the league. They've got confidence in him. They run the offense through him. He's extremely efficient, quick release. It'll take a good effort. We need to get a good pressure on him by our defensive front, and then hopefully our secondary can make some plays.
Okay, quick 2-minute drill here, or 2-minute drill, I guess. Going to face the Little Rock Touchdown Club Monday. What's your approach when you speak to a group like that?
Well, I'm just talk about our program. We've got something special here at Conway, Arkansas, and at UCA, and I feel like at times it's a kind of a hidden secret, and it's my job. I get a chance to stand on a platform. I'm going to promote this place, like I believe it is, and it's a great place, and it's an opportunity to tell the state of Arkansas about it.
Assuming your immediate family is with you, who's the first person you text or call after a game?
Assuming they're with me. Oh, I got you. Probably. I always get a text from my grandma, so my grandma always texts me. It's good.
She
always.
She's the president of the fan club.
Yeah, she's a good one. She keeps us in her prayers and thoughts.
That's good. What's some of the best advice you've ever gotten?
Oh wow, so much. I think just hard work. Just keeping your head down. Hard work and things will work out. Everybody's lot in life is what it is. Make the most of it.
Do you have a bucket list?
Bucket list. I'm not a big bucket list guy, but
okay.
But I'd like to travel when I get the opportunity. But I kind of want to go. I kind of want to go to Lambeau. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Fenway Park. Places like that. I'm a sports fan, so stuff like that.
Okay, that's good.
Would be neat.
And I hate to ask this, but it just seems like there has not been a perfect weather game just yet. So if you got to go strong wind, heavy rain, extreme heat, or snow for a game, what are you taking?
Extreme heat.
Okay. Very southern of you. I like that. I won't tell you all the details, but this morning I got sideways with a cup of coffee, and it ended up in my lap.
Ooh.
Wasn't a good way to start the day. What's the strangest or most memorable injury you've ever had?
probably when I broke my thumb playing football. You know, I hit it. We were in practice, and I hit it on my own player's helmet. That's a bad way to go, man. It's a bad way to go.
Yeah. Favorite pet of all time?
Ooh.
Do we have one currently?
We do. His name's Ralphie. He's a long-haired dachshund.
Okay.
He's not bad.
All right. Luke, we like the dog? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll go with that.
He's a fan of Ralphie.
All right, well, that's good. That's good. All right, well, that's it. You're off the hook for today. Big receivers coach, I wanted to mention that one more time. How does that change at all, if any, the defensive approach with those big guys on the outside?
Well, they've got to play the ball in the air. I mean, if they let those balls get to a 50-50 point, usually the big receiver's going to come down with it. You know, so we've got to be in tune with probably more vertical passing game. You know, that's what we like to do with our big receivers. I know that's a lot of times a philosophy when you've got big, tall guys, and so our corners will be ready. Coach Howard does a phenomenal job with those guys, and he'll have them ready to go.
Good luck this week.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in today, for coming out tonight. And also want to mention 6 o'clock kick, so 5 o'clock pregame. And come heck or high water, R.J. Hawk and Gilberto Garcia are going to be out tailgating doing the pregame show for the first 30 minutes. So go by and say hello to those guys, and then we'll join you 30 minutes before kickoff in the booth. But we're looking forward to it. Big game for the Bears, trying to stay on track towards another Southland Conference title this week against Northwestern State. We'll join you back here at Pizza Ranch next week. And don't forget Coach Brown at the Little Rock Touchdown Club on Monday. All right, we'll talk to you Saturday. We'll be back here Monday night. Thanks for coming out, everybody. Good night.